She's not what you'd expect. She's tough and feisty, but gentle and tender. She makes millions and gives millions to the poor. She cries, she laughs, she teaches, she comforts. This is the Dani Johnson Show.
Hi, I'm Dani Johnson. Welcome to the Dani Johnson Show. Thanks so much for joining us today. Hey, are you a parent with adult children who are not making the best of choices? And are you like freaking out because of it and or pulling out your hair or feeling super guilty and going, oh my gosh, man, I did my best. Why is my kid doing this, right? I'm even talking about some of your kids that might be 16 to whatever's like, but you know, because even as a 16-year-old, there's only so much you can do when your 16-year-old is making not the best of choices. So if you would like to enter in on this discussion, let's talk today about that. Like, what do I do? Studies show that 90% of moms feel guilt as a mom and 76% of parents feel pressure to be perfect. I was most certainly in that place, no question. In fact, I had the fear that my kids would hate me. That like literally was my fear, that my children are going to hate me. I don't know why, but I carried that fear for a really long time. Every once in a while, that thought tries to knock on the door of my mind and I just say, get out, like forget that nonsense. Because what you fear most is going to happen. And it's going to happen because you're acting on your fear. You're taking action on your fear instead of action against your fear. And so if you have felt the pressure to be perfect, and you've lived under that pressure to be perfect, then you largely have a tremendous amount of insecurities. All you see is the mistakes that you've made, and either you put yourself into a depression or you have, or you've completely checked out. It's like, forget about it, man. This is too difficult. It's too hard. And you're just going to go live your own life. So we are going over to the phones because we got Raj from Tennessee. Hold on. That's willing to join this conversation. So, yeah, have you been in that situation, Raj, where your adult child has not made the best choices?
Oh, yes, we have. Can I tell you a little bit about it?
You go right ahead, man.
Well, I'll just tell you. My son, he had his grocery job, a little grocery store job, and he loved his church, his friends, and his job. And then he got this $32,000 a year scholarship because he had a 32 on the ACT out of 36. And we were so excited. It was a private school outside of Memphis, everything paid for. Wow. And then he comes in and tells the family, hey, I'm going to stay home. And we wanted to be supportive, but we weren't very happy about that, You know what I'm saying? It's like an opportunity of a lifetime, and he decides to stay home. But there's more to the story. I mean, it turned out really great.
What, that he stayed home?
Yeah, it turned out really great that he stayed home. He actually made the right decision, even though as parents we were thinking, oh, my goodness, what have you done? But he'd always been at this job, and so now he started getting promoted and more raises, and they decided they were going to pay for his business degree. And my sister was saying, oh, please do something besides that psychology degree he wants to get, and because he wanted to be a Christian psychologist.
Wow.
But he came home one day and says, Dad, I think I want to be a district manager of this national retailer, and he was so excited, and he found his calling because we believe everyone's a minister, no matter what they do.
Yes.
And he says, Dad, I think God is calling me to do this. And so what had happened, he now is a team leader. He gets stock because it's owned by the employees, and they are paying for his degree in business. Wow. He's doing the psychology degree on his own, and he's out on his own making really good money, and he's in the computer as of April 2nd of this year to be ready to be promoted to assistant manager of a department. And people don't realize some of these companies, a meat cutter in some places make $32,000. He's in the grocery part, but he eventually will. The sky is the limit.
It is.
Because this next opportunity, And what he said, said, I want to use my job as a vehicle to get me to where I'm going. I'm still going to be a Christian psychologist, but I want to take this route to do it. So
wow.
he is so excited, and he's always tithed since he was 16, and I believe God is really blessing that.
Yeah, no question. Now, isn't it so interesting? Because, first of all, I'm happy for you. Congratulations. What an amazing thing. You got a hardworking son. You have a son with a vision. That's amazing, right? You think about today, we have so many kids that have no vision. They've got no motivation, and they're just like lost and confused and wasting time, but not your son. And I love it when I see sons that are hardworking, right?
Yes.
That is like such an important, powerful thing that you as a father have imparted into your son. You've done your biblical mandate of teaching your son to be hardworking. So when it came to that moment, did you and your wife try to talk your kid out of the decision that he was trying to make?
Well, we wanted to, but we didn't want to let him down thinking that he couldn't. We wanted him to make his own decisions, and we've taught him to do that ever since he's been out of diapers, almost the next thing. What can he do for himself? But we did try to encourage him, but we really wanted to. We wanted to say, what are you thinking? But, you need to do it our way. But what we've learned is basically God was working, and we didn't even, we knew God always worked, and God always shows up.
Yeah.
But we were thinking that it had to be through the scholarship, and it really ended up being with the company that he works for, and he just found his match.
Yeah.
But it doesn't mean that there's not times when there's like sometimes a regional manager can go in and he's responsible as a team leader now, and sometimes he has his bad days, but he just looks at the end goal, and that would be the fact that he just turned 23, and he says, the guy in vegetables, he's a millionaire already, just in stock alone, and I've got $7,000, and I just turned 23. I'm not at a millionaire yet, but I can be on my way because I have more stock than some even adults do.
Wow.
Some adults don't even have stock.
Adults, look at him. He's 23. He's an adult. He sees the older people like you and me as adults.
Yeah, and
That's awesome.
and he, I always say he's 23 in a old man's body,
Yeah.
But he's always been around people that were successful because we live outside of Nashville, and we go to church with names of you would know, and so he's always seen that and knows what hard work can do, and it's exciting. And we've always appreciated. I followed you for a very, very long time, and there's many a times when you've helped pick me up when I was down, but it translates to my kids because I didn't have my father. I just wanted to my son to know how important it was for him to make a difference in the life, first in his life, being a parent, but then also being a provider for his family.
That's right. Man, Raj, thank you so much for those words. That's just awesome. I love just hearing the joy in your heart, right? The fulfillment of being a dad and knowing that your son is doing good. But yeah, the tendency is that when our kid wants to make their own decision, that it's almost like us parents are like, ha, 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 you know what I mean? The first time you put them on a bicycle and you take the training wheels, you're like, ha, 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 you don't want them to fall, you know what I mean? But the fact is that God is working inside of them, and we have to let go, and we have to let them learn on their own path. And sometimes they don't always choose Raj's son's path, you know what I mean? Like that could have been, where oftentimes parents will go, no, you're going to college. No, you need to take advantage. You need to trust me that I know better. I love the maturity that Raj and his wife had, that they had those feelings, but also understanding, wait a second, we've trained our son to make his own decisions. And whatever the decision is, we trust that God's hand is on his life and that it's all going to turn out great. And that's exactly what has happened here. But I have to tell you that maybe you've worked really hard to raise your kids with the kind of values that you think are important. And like us, raising our kids to understand finances, to understand and walk with God, the importance of honor and respect, the importance of being really, really good with a good work ethic and bringing honor and respect in the workplace, and the importance of learning and almost being not addicted, but falling in love with learning. So many of these things, right? We've done our very best to groom our kids and to set them up for the best possible amount of success that they could have. But that doesn't mean that they turn out perfect all of a sudden 18 and they're making all the wise choices. No, man, your kids have to make mistakes. And unfortunately, sometimes they have to make the same exact mistakes that you do. It depends really on the personality, and it really depends really on the child. As much as you try to create the most perfect environment for them, they still have to learn. And sadly, most of us have to learn through consequences. We have to allow our circumstances to teach us. Some people learn by hearing, some other people learn by experiencing. And so when you learn through experience, that largely is better known, I would say. You know it better when you've learned through experience. So number one, I'm going to say this. That use Raj's example, him and his wife, right? So deep down, they're like, what are you, crazy? But they didn't let that out of their mouth. They trusted that what they've trained their son to be, which is to make his own decisions, that they're going to allow him to live out the consequences or the benefits of his decisions. That's wisdom. That's maturity. Because sometimes the tendency is out of fear. And you really got to check yourself on this, friend. You really got to check yourself on this. Because out of fear, we try to control our kids. And when you try to control them, you squeeze them, they're going to run from you. They also feel like you don't understand them when you try to control them. They also feel that you don't trust them. And so when an adult child or a child feels like you don't trust them, guess what? They're like, forget it. They don't trust me anyway, so I'm going to go do whatever I want. And largely, they didn't even want to go do the things that now they go and do. They now want to do it because they feel like that you don't trust them. And so it's really important for your kid to know that you trust them. And so whenever our kids have made decisions, let's say that I'm like, oh, okay, okay, you know that feeling. This is what I've said to them. That, hey, we've done our best, and I've had the chance to live with you all these years, and I am confident you know how to make really good decisions. And I am confident that whatever it is you put your hands to, you're going to succeed at. So if you choose to put your hands at something that is harmful, hurtful, well, I think you have the ability to learn from that experience, and I'm going to love you no matter what you do. So if you choose to go down a path that I've been teaching you not to go in your entire life, it's okay. I understand. Humans are humans, and they've got to make their own choices. So nothing's going to change my love for you. I'm going to love you when it works out or it doesn't work out. I'm going to be there for you to support you when you succeed and when you fail. So it doesn't matter what choice you make. It's your choice. You're the one that gets to deal with the circumstances of the choices you make, and I'm still going to be your mom, and I'm still going to love you. Even when you think I won't love you, even when you think I am against you, even though you may think that I'm not for your choices, I'm going to love you no matter what, and only time will tell. Time will tell. Based on what path you decide to take, I'm going to be there for you when you fall, when you rise. When you fall, when you rise, I'm going to be there for you, no matter which direction you go in. And so especially our kids, man, because our kids grew up with parents that were in the public eye, right? So it's almost like pastors' kids. We did not pastor a church, but we definitely have pastored people all over the world. And so as we've done that, as we've led people and as we've trained people, our kids were in these seminars with thousands of people and on the stage with us, right? And then, of course, when Facebook came around, when we first got our Facebook page back in 2010, now their life has been seen by millions of people, right? That can be intimidating. That can be really, really intimidating. And so one of the things that I've encouraged them with is, hey, listen, it doesn't matter what anybody's opinion is of you. The only opinion that matters is God's. And you are human, and you are going to make mistakes, and you're going to have some great successes. And if people have an expectation of you never making a mistake, if people have an expectation of you always being perfect, if they have an expectation of you never falling down, that is on their own complete ignorant mind. Don't you dare try to live up to anybody's expectations. Nobody's. Not even what you think my expectations are. Don't even try to live up to what you might think my expectations are. Our kids even came to us. In fact, one of our sons had said, man, I kind of feel like if I don't start a business and become a millionaire, then I'm just I'm just not part of the family, or I'm not going to be successful. And, that somehow I'm the black sheep of the family. I'm like, dude, let me tell you something. If you choose a path where you make $20,000 a year for the rest of your life, I am still going to love you. Are you crazy? How much money you make and what you choose as a profession does not change my love for you. And just because you're a part of this family, and just because Dad and I have built a business, and just because we've been in the public eye, doesn't mean you have to. So you go do what you want to do. You do what you feel is in your heart, that God planted inside of you, that you're called to. Outside of that, your income doesn't mean squat. Your happiness, your fulfillment, your satisfaction, the impact that you're going to make on the children that you're going to birth, that is so much more important than any amount of money that anybody would ever make. So don't you think for 5 seconds that you've got to be an entrepreneur just because we are. There's lots of problems with being an entrepreneur, buddy. It's not the greatest life that some people sell it to be. It has challenges just like working for somebody else has challenges. Both have problems. It's just which problems do you want to manage, and how good are you at managing those problems? So anyway, it's amazing the kind of things that can actually get into your kid's head. And if you try to control them, I promise you, they're just going to go in a direction that you do not want them to go in. So my opinion is that when your adult children are making adult decisions, you communicate to them. Don't manipulate. Don't control. Don't try to tell them if they do that, then they're going to fail. No, it's like, hey, listen, you're a big girl. You're a big boy. You know how to make decisions. You know how to think. You know how to think things through. I'm going to love you no matter what you choose. So, and I'm going to be with you. No matter how it turns out, I'm going to be there for you and be with you. So let's head on the journey, whatever the journey is. Okay, now I might be heartbroken from time to time, and I hope you have the maturity to allow your mom to cry and to understand that if you do fall or something happens that is bad, it's the same if I got a car that you got in a car accident. I'm going to cry, okay? So the fact is that, yeah, I may not agree. It doesn't matter if I agree. What matters is love. That's what matters, and I'm going to love you no matter what you choose. So that's freedom for your kids to learn how to be who they are. And when you tell them that you believe in them, you tell them that you believe that they have the ability to make wise choices, that causes them to rise up and perhaps make wise choices. And or sometimes this is what you need to understand. Some people, because of their own choices, and because life is really all about learning, this is the way they got to learn. This is just the way they got to learn. So don't control. I've watched controllers and manipulators, and boy, have I learned from them what not to do. I have watched controllers and manipulators literally drive their children into heart conditions. Literally have watched them add so much stress to their kids that their kids are embittered to their parent and want to completely walk away from everything that has been built up to be, this is the path, this is what you have to do, college being one of them. Okay, we got Rebecca from Wisconsin. Rebecca, what about you? You've ever been in that situation where your adult child is making decisions, or your near adult child is making decisions that you do not agree with?
I have a granddaughter that has been dated a man for 3 years, I think. Mm-hmm. They're both Christians, both in they've worked in camps together. They both have college degrees. Mm-hmm. And his parents have prayed and prayed for the right bride. They got engaged recently. And my granddaughter's parents are not really for it, but Dad finally said, okay, because the the son-in-law to be, asked for permission. Okay, and the dad, my son-in-law, said, I can't believe how difficult this is to say today. When you marry my daughter, I have expectations, and you marry the whole family. And so he's kind of like setting some boundaries. And he says, I also don't just hand my daughter over to anybody. They are going through with the plans. And so, long story short, I was just at a big convention, ran into two professionals that the husband-to-be worked for, I can't remember, 4 or 5 months, whatever. And they had met my granddaughter a number of times because of that and just absolutely loved her. And basically said, tell her to give the ring back.
Why?
And I just dropped because of the lack of motivation on the husband-to-be part, and not working very much. And she has become an entrepreneur because she couldn't find a job in her field.
Good for
when
her.
she graduated from college, and she's doing absolutely incredible. Within, I think it's like a year now, maybe 13 months, but whatever. And I sat there in my hotel room, and it's like, oh my gosh, she's my first grandchild. She's my first fruits as well. I was a missionary for many years, and I call her my first fruits because she was the first grandchild to go to Israel on her own, and has her heart so set in it. And that's really, I'm just goosebumped up here because that means so much to me, and God showed me she was my first fruit.
So Rebecca, let me ask you: Are you for the future son-in-law, or are you against the future son-in-law?
I like this man, but the lack of ambition was really, really difficult for me to see.
Now, what do you mean the lack of ambition? Are you saying he doesn't work?
He only works a couple days a week at a
Does
church.
he make money?
$20 an hour.
Ooh, a couple days a week, $20 an hour. Okay. So and so the father is saying, "Hey, your job is to provide for my daughter."
Correct.
Okay. And so has the daughter received the blessing from her parents to marry this young man?
I can't answer that because I was supposed to have been with her a couple Sundays ago, and it had to be canceled out, and I was going to.
So you don't know. You don't know if the father gave the blessing.
No, all I know is that he put some very strong expectations on
which he should.
Husband to be.
Which
he did.
He should.
He did, and he's a very successful man himself.
He should. Okay. Yeah. So right now the granddaughter's making more money, and it looks like the future son-in-law is not working and not going to be able to provide for her.
That's the way the picture looks.
So let me ask you this. Has she asked anyone for advice? Has she asked for other people's opinion about this relationship?
She asked me last Thanksgiving because we are really close.
And what did you say? What did you say?
I told her pretty much just what I'm sharing with you, and I went back to the very first time I met him, which was almost 3 years ago, and
let me ask you this, Rebecca, is this his habit? Meaning, for the last 3.5 years, he hasn't been working. He's only been working part time.
No, he was working, but in a ministry where, unfortunately, a lot of those are minimal pay. So he moved from one state to another, hoping to find something. But to me, it's like he's looking for the ideal job to be dropped out of heaven. And I did some work with him last Thanksgiving, and I could see the resistance of, yes, he believes in God, but and he does really believe in God, and he works with kids. He loves kids, and so on and so forth.
He obviously doesn't know the Bible. He obviously doesn't know the Bible that says that he is supposed to work and that he is supposed to provide.
Well, yeah, I brought that up because I'm pretty bold, and I just said, if you don't work, you don't eat.
That's
Okay,
right.
dude. This isn't going fine. I had 5 kids. I raised them single-handed, and it's like, you know what? All my kids had a work ethic at 10 years old, and there was no ifs, ands, buts about it. And I was very nice about it, but I did speak God's word to him, and I did speak to my granddaughter, and I hate to say this, I guess, is that she was with a man that probably was her parents' ideal and was hers, and he dropped her literally after 3 years, and appeared to be a really good relationship to everybody. They never fought, they never blah, 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 and then he wanted her back 8-9 months later.
Okay.
I feel that this is a rebound, and she's afraid that she won't get anybody.
I don't know that
Kind
a
of.
3-year relationship
I'm not
is a
sure.
rebound, to be honest with you. A 3-year relationship is pretty committed. And listen, the bottom line is that you've done your part. Dad has done his part. And at this point, you guys cannot manipulate because that will not be blessed by God. You cannot try to pressure because that's not going to be blessed by God. The best thing you can tell her, no, seriously, as much as you want, you're like, get away from this guy. If she does not have eyes to see that this young man does not choose to have, to take in the role of provision for her, because that is his role, if she chooses not to see what others are seeing, you literally have to let go. And you literally, I mean, you said you were a missionary. That means this is about trusting God. And we have no idea how this is going to turn out. And in telling her, I love you no matter who you're going to marry. I love you no matter what the choices you are going to make. You are wise. You are smart. And I'm pretty sure you can see that he doesn't work. And I also know that love can be blind and love can see only the great things in somebody. But once you get married, that kind of changes and now you see a different side of things. But the bottom line is this. When you make your choice, I'm standing with you 100% in your choice. And if this is from your Father in heaven, he's going to work it all out. And bottom line is I'm not going to tell you what you should do. I'm going to tell you I believe in your ability to hear your Father in heaven. I believe in your ability to make wise choices. I believe in your ability to have the boldness to do whatever it is you choose to do. And I'm with you 100%.
And that is, Dani, actually pretty much what I told her last Thanksgiving. They were supposed to get engaged, whatever, at Christmas time, and I don't think he had the money for the ring, to be honest with you. But anyway, that, what I think. But he did go to her dad, and they did have numerous talks. I do know that. And so
it's in God's
I have
hands.
to trust
It's in God's hands.
And,
that's
well,
the bottom
and that's
line.
what the Lord told me, because I thought, oh my goodness, I have to tell her what these people said, who absolutely adore and love her and her skills and so on and so forth. And God said, leave it alone.
That's
I've
right.
got it.
That's right.
And it's like, so when you were talking, it's like, I just kind of felt like I had to write that out there. I had no idea I was supposed to call in.
Yeah, that's really awesome. Rebecca, thank you so much for sharing. And that's hard, man, because, again, this is like a lifelong decision, you know what I mean, that you're watching somebody make. And here's the facts. I mean, we can talk till we're blue in the face, and the bottom line is that young person's going to decide what they're going to decide, and they're going to have to learn it the hard way or the easy way. I was young once. I didn't listen to anybody. And I've got kids who, I got one who is the same way. And so at this point, I'm like, I'm done. I tried to talk her out of 3 marriages. She wouldn't listen at all. I mean, I spent hours trying. I'm like, and at the end of every conversation of like going, hello, okay, including the last one that the first time I saw a picture of him was in jail. Yes, his mugshot was the first time I saw a picture of him going, and the fact is, I said, you know what, I'm going to love you no matter what choices you make. I'm going to love you, if it works out, and I'm going to love you if it is painful and turns out abusive and turns out terrible. I'm going to love you, and I'm going to be there for you. And I have. So I'm actually done talking, and I just like, you're going to make your choices. I'm going to love you through them. My job as a mother is to love you no matter what it is that you choose. And that's not saying I'm condoning actions or bad decisions. I'm simply saying I stand with the Father in that you are a child of God, and you're going to make your choice, and you're going to live according to that choice that will either be incredibly blessed, or you get the blessing of learning a painful lesson, which means that will turn into a blessing at some point. So anyway, that's it for us today. Thank you so much for joining us. This is the Dani Johnson Show. We have this show every single day. Today we were talking about, those tough choices that we have to make with our kids. I don't believe in enabling your kids at all. I also believe in using wisdom and putting them in the driver's seat of them making the choices and telling them that you believe in them, and no matter what it is that they choose. So it is sometimes really hard to watch. Oh gosh, you're like, no, you're too close to the cliff, but it is what it is. And I'll tell you what, raising kids has definitely helped me to become a better person. It definitely helped me to have a closer walk with my God. And it definitely helped me to put myself in their shoes and to remember back when I was their age. And wow, they are so much further ahead than where I was at that age. Like so much further ahead, especially emotionally, mentally, spiritually. Like, wow, the kind of wisdom that they carry is like just the maturity that they have is so much bigger, better than I was at that particular age. So I choose not to worry whether they choose to become a prodigal child or not. I choose not to worry. I choose to go, okay, my position is love, period. That's my position. Even when they've thrown daggers at mom and dad, I'm still going to choose to love, period. I'm going to love. I'm going to love. I'm going to love. Love never fails. Love always wins. And love casts out all fear. So freely love, and it will come back and bless you. Sometimes it's painful, but it will come back and bless you. All right, that's it for us. Thanks so much for joining us. Have a great rest of the day. Bye.